Hey family, I hope and I pray that this day has been an awesome day, and I pray that you have been having a good start to your week already. This month begins our Advent celebration. Advent is simply that time that we begin to prepare our hearts and minds for the return of Jesus Christ. We are in anticipation and expectation of Jesus Christ to be born on Christmas Day. So there are a couple of few themes that we end up focusing on Advent. One of those themes is peace. So this week is brought to you by the letter P, peace. And I truly think that that's something that we all need in this life. It's some peace. The Bible tells us in the book of Philippians chapter 4, it tells us to think on these things. Whatsoever is good, whatsoever is noble, whatsoever is pure. These are the things that we should be thinking about and dwelling on. And truthfully, we've had a lot of things that have been on the forefront of our mind, right? Even just within the past month, within the past few days, not even just past month, past few days, we've had a lot of things that have been on the forefront of our mind. And my question to you is, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about? What has been, where have your thoughts been dwelling these last couple few months, weeks, days, and maybe this past year? Now I get it, it's been a lot that we've experienced this year. Somebody tweeted the other day, and they said that when we begin to reckon with all of the trauma that we've experienced this year, we're gonna seriously need some therapy. And that is one of the truest things that I've ever read in a Twitter post, because we have dealt with so much this year, and it makes it hard to think of whatever is pure, noble, honest, and all the other things when so many bad things and so many negative things have been on the forefront of your mind. It's hard to think about so many, almost impossible to think about good thoughts when you're literally running from crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis. Those things are almost impossible to do. It's impossible because, you can't think your way out of trauma, right? Like, I can't think my way out of a situation. I can't think my way out of a crisis. Trust me, I tried. I tried to think. Matter of fact, I'm trying right now. No, because I tried to think $1 million into my bank account, and it didn't even work. It didn't work. I wish I could think my way out of crises that I deal with and focus on. Maybe I'd be able to pay my student loans so I can think my way out of my student loan crisis. But that's not what we can really do. Right? That's not within our own power. The power resides in who we have linked up with us as we're beginning to shift our mind and shift our focus. The later part of the text tells us that, and the God of peace goes with you. That as we shift our mind, and as we begin to try to make a conscious and concerted effort and intentional effort to really focus our mind and shift our thoughts, we'll find that God continues to join with us. Now, this is important, because it's not like a step one, think good thoughts, and then step two, God comes with you. But it's really I do what I can and think good thoughts in the midst of my crisis, in the midst of my stuff, in the midst of things going wrong with me, and God joins in with me. And God is with me. And God resides with me. That's important, because it truly does matter who you have with you. Prime example, right? So I'm 15, I get my learner's permit, and I'm riding around the car with my dad, and it's the first day that I get my permit, and my dad tells me to drive the Sonics, and so I drive the Sonics, and I drive right back to the house. Now, I'm thinking everything's cool, calm, collected. That's a Friday. Now Saturday, my dad wakes me up early. And I mean early, I mean like old dark for early, right? I mean, it was so early. We got up so early, I saw Jesus get out the grave. That's how early we got up, okay? I mean, whew, Lord knows it was early. We got up early because we had a youth event at our church going on at 9 a.m. and my dad needed to be there early, and I also needed to be there early because I was on a program. I had to be there by 8:30. So there was a lot that needed to have been done. Well, my dad decides to teach me how to drive by trial by fire. You know, the best way to explain this, I have to tell you everywhere we went. Because we went all over Tidewater. I mean, we went all over Tidewater. Oh man. My dad took us from Western Branch to Norfolk, taking the downtown tunnel. Then went from Norfolk through the downtown tunnel back to Western Branch, then from Western Branch through the Midtown Tunnel. And this is before they had tolls. So the Midtown Tunnel is only 2 lanes, all right? Then we go from the Midtown Tunnel in Norfolk, turn right back around, come back to Western Branch. Then from Western Branch, we go all the way into Hampton. Then from Hampton, we turn right back around, taking 664, and we drive into Suffolk. We taking 58 into Suffolk, and we drive all the way through Suffolk, driving downtown Suffolk, and we get to 460. And we drive to Franklin, and we get along all the back roads in Franklin. And we drive from Franklin, and we come all the way back to Western Branch. Now, during the car ride, I gotta tell you, it's my second time driving, right? Only the second time that I've ever been behind the wheel, and we did all of that. So needless to say, my dad had a lot to say to me as we were driving. Oh my gosh, my dad was fussing the whole car ride. And truth be told, it was hard. It was very hard for me to make decisions. It was very hard for me to focus behind the wheel because of what was in my ear, or because of what I was experiencing, or because of you know the pressure that I would feel behind the wheel of the car, knowing that somebody or something is yelling at me, and I've got to make life-altering decisions with pressure on my back. So we get back to the house, and my mom looks at us, and my dad and I come back, and we are white. All right, now I know you see me. I've been just as dark as I've always been, but I came back light skinned that day. I was as light as Drake. I mean, I was light skinned to it. Okay, and you know, my mom looked at us and she said, you know what, Andre, why don't you go to the church, and AJ, Alexis, and I will meet you at Bethel. So my dad he'll go to the church, and my mom finishes making me breakfast and tells me to finish getting myself ready and situated, you know, and she takes me and she hands me the keys, and she tells me, you're gonna drive the church. Now, I'm in a state of shock, but I gather myself because you know, I do want to drive. I want my license. Now, again, it matters who you have with you, because my mom, as we're driving down 664, taking them out of the Merrimack Tunnel, my mom is not yelling at me. She's not fussing at me. She might correct me calmly. Like if I look in the rearview mirror too long, she might say something to me, but she's not yelling at me. I don't feel like I have to make life-altering decisions with so much pressure. I'm not feeling as if I'm going from one thing to the other thing, to the other thing, to the other thing, with so much loud noise, or so much white noise, or so much pressure coming down my back. I feel calm. And and even though I'm driving, making life-altering decisions, I'm able to make them in a peaceful state of mind, in a calm state of mind. And why I tell you that it matters who you have with you in the car, or when you have, or why it matters when you have someone with you, is because it matters. Because when we have God with us, and when God's presence resides with us, peace comes with us, right? It's the God of peace that is with us. And maybe, just maybe, during this particular season of our lives, God is not trying to show us how God can be a battle axe. God is not trying to show us how God can be just our deliverer. God is not trying to show us how God can just be, the way maker. But God is just trying to show us that God can be your peace. And in the midst of all of what you might have lost this season, or in the midst of all of what you might have experienced this season, the one thing that I believe that for a lot of us, we've been able to maintain is our peace of mind. And that's something that's very valuable for all of us. It's so valuable that I would dare you that I would even say it's something that God favors us with. That favor is not just limited to our material acquisitions, or it's not just limited to whatever material blessings that we can bestow upon, right? But favor also comes in the form of peace. We find this in the book of Luke, when the announcement of Jesus' birth comes to the shepherds. The scripture tells us there's peace among those whom God favors. Wow. What a declaration that as part of being one of the persons who's favored by God, that peace is a part of that. That the favor of God is not just limited to my car that I drive, the house that I live in, the spouse that I got, the job that I have, or even the tax bracket that I file my taxes in. The favor of God also comes in the form of peace. And I think that is something so beautiful for us to have. Because if we're going to be honest, that might have been one of the main things that you didn't lose this year, peace of mind. And God favored you with that. So as we focus on Advent, as we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, know that this is what Jesus wants for us. Know that this is this is something that Jesus not just wants for us, but that Jesus comes with. That when we come ready to anticipate Jesus' birth on Christmas Day, know that peace comes with it. Anyways, my friends, I hope and pray that something has blessed you during this particular time. I pray that the rest of your evening is wonderful, and I pray that you are able to experience the peace of God, which will surpass all of your understanding. Remember that I love you, but God loves you more. Take it easy. Bye, guys.